Hey there, fellowship. Welcome to this week's episode. Before we get going, have you heard about Anchor by Spotify? Well, if you have an idea for a podcast and an audience that you think will listen, Anchor by Spotify is the right choice. You can record, you can edit, and you can distribute your podcast to all the major platforms all on your phone or your computer. Everything you need in one place. The Anchor app or anchor.fm. So go to those places right now. Record your voice. We want to hear it. And welcome to this episode of the Pretty Neat Podcast.
Oh, well, hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey. Howdy.
How do?
Konnichiwa.
What's going on?
Oh, you know, just hanging out inside the Pretty Neat Zoom room.
It is pretty neat.
It's time for the Pretty Neat Podcast. It's time for the Pretty Neat Podcast.
4 weeks? Has it been 4, Ryan? I think it has.
The 17th was the last event that the UFC had.
That's too long of a dry spell. That's too long of a dry spell. It was dry ice this winter, as it were. But I'm happy all of that's coming again because that is a content driver on the Pretty Neat Podcast, which is this show, the show where we, that being myself, Aaron, my friend Ryan,
Hey.
my friend Dom,
Hi.
talk about UFC and other pretty neat things. You can go to the prettyneatpodcast.com, hit the mailbag if you want to talk to us, or you can look at all the pretty neat stuff we have on there and tell a friend. Tell them you like the show. Tell them you want them to listen to the show so that you can talk to them about all the wrong shit we say and all of our great gambling advice. We've made many a people wealthy on this show, including but not limited to James Krause.
The people who own and operate the sports books have made a fuck ton of money on our advice.
Yeah, they have. How was your week? What's going on? Because there wasn't sports. Sorry, there were sports. There just weren't sports that matter to me.
That's a lot to digest there real quick. Yeah, there were sports that other people, numerous amounts of people care about. You were not one of them. There was the Chargers are going to play the Jacksonville Jaguars on Saturday.
The Jaguars.
Pretty stoked on that.
What's the line on that game? Do you know?
I don't know as of yet.
I'll pull it up. Keep going.
Dom shared a hilarious news line of 2 key Charger players getting injured in a game that meant consequentially nothing. Had no consequence whatsoever. I am happy to report that both will be available for the game, so no
I kind of figured
lasting
as
damage.
much, yeah.
No lasting damage. However, you're not wrong. Whoever wrote that, you're not wrong. And Staley, the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, had this to say for it. It's hard determining who's going to play. It's hard figuring out who's going to play in the game. I'm like, it's not hard. You're one of your starting wide receivers. You're starting outside linebacker, defensive end. They shouldn't be playing. And they still lost. But at the same time, like, it didn't mean anything.
Yeah, football is weird in that sense. Like, they don't, except for preseason where teams have kind of figured out don't play your starters in the preseason. They like basketball, baseball, when a team is out, they they kind of pack it in and they let the young guys get a look. And football doesn't always operate that way, but man, so the Chargers, do you want to guess the line actually?
I'm looking at it.
Wow.
It's wild. They're the away team and they're favored by 1.
I've got them at 1.5.
I'm looking on ESPN. What do you got?
Also on ESPN.
Really?
Yeah.
I got the over under at 47.5. What you got?
Yep. Money line minus 120, but it says spread consensus pick Chargers at minus 1.5.
Wow.
But then it also says spread -1. So who?
Shake your head in disgust. Yes, it's irritation.
ESPN, figure it out. Come on.
Let's go. So yeah, it's interesting because, correct me if I'm wrong, but am I going to have a conflict of trying to watch the Chargers and UFC simultaneously?
Well, no, because you definitely should just watch the Chargers. And maybe like small screen the UFC. So BetMGM has the Chargers at minus 1.5.
Okay.
I love that line. I think that's an easy parlay with Seattle at plus 9.5. You could even tease that and get the Chargers at like plus 2.5 and the Seahawks at 12.5. The Seahawks being in the playoffs is a wild thing to begin with. It was very clear watching their game against the Rams that the NFL wanted them to win because there were legitimately 5 calls that were so atrocious that went the Seahawks' way. I can't even the commentators and that guy they have in the booth that does NFL like rules interpretation.
Like Mike Pereira.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I don't know. That's a tough call. It's like, come on.
I don't
what
know
are we
if I
doing?
would have done that. No, I should be able to. Yeah. Okay. So the prelim start at 1. Should be able to watch all of that. The main card starts at 4.
Chargers, I'm showing 5:15.
Yeah, Chargers 5:15. So I can watch all the prelims unconflicted, 1 to 2, maybe 2 fights on the main card before I would have to start channel surfing.
These are the real problems. This is when you iPad the UFC and full TV the football game. That is what I will be doing.
Yeah, you're right. I probably will have an AirPod in, listening to fights with the Chargers on the big screen, watching that. That's probably how it's going to go down.
I think the Chargers get it done here, and I think they get it done comfortably. And I'm not even just saying that. I think they are the better team.
I hope so. They did get blown out by the Jaguars in like week 4 or 5, 38-10 in LA. So that's not promising. However, you always have to favor the team that got beat the first time to make some type of
3.
some type of adjustment the following time they match up. But that was a fucking whole season ago.
Well, it may as well have been. Who is Jacksonville's coach now?
Great question. It's on the tip of my tongue.
It's definitely not Urban Meyer. I'll tell you that much.
It's definitely not Urban Meyer. What is Urban Meyer doing these days?
Dancing with co-eds at bars.
Well, I mean, that's what he did all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He's the one they have that crazy Italian restaurant story about, right?
Yes.
Is that him or is that Rick Pitino? I think it's Rick Pitino.
Are you talking about Rick Pitino with like having sex in the restaurant?
Yeah, where he was like, the people at the restaurant know what I'm about when I come into the restaurant. He had some crazy story. He's a college football TV commentator now, Urban Meyer.
Damn. Rick Pitino.
Rick Pitino, Italian restaurant.
Yeah. Oh, fucking.
What do I do in an Italian? Rick Pitino testifies about restaurant sex encounter. Yep. What did he say? Oh, it's even better than I thought. He said, quote, unfortunate things happen.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
He goes to Fuca de Beppo.
Yeah, he sure does. So this is from 2010. That's longer ago than I thought it was. Louisville basketball coach Rick Pitino told a jury Wednesday that a woman accused of demanding millions from him had sex with him after whispering to him and unzipping his pants in an empty Italian restaurant. Pitino testified Wednesday that he met the woman at the restaurant where he'd gone following a golf outing. Said he bought her a drink. The two exchanged small talk. When he got up to leave, Pitino said she whispered something, opened his pants, and then the two had sex, quote, very briefly.
Very briefly.
Outstanding Rick Pitino. Because here's
Rick
the thing.
Pitino.
If I had a son who was good enough to play high-level college basketball, I want his coach doing stuff like that.
It was a bendy Hana.
It was.
He went to
puns.
Bendy Hana, Fuga
Yeah, he
de
did.
Beppo.
Fuga de Beppo.
This guy just loves
and the
family.
Olive Garden.
All you can eat breadsticks. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
talking about.
He means vagina.
I find their soup a little salty, but that's just me.
Yep, and I've had my salads tossed enough times.
Damn.
Hey, don't knock until you've tried it. So let's just quickly do some NFL picks, Ryan. Seattle, San Francisco. Who do you have?
San Francisco.
Yeah, unfortunately, even though I hate them, we both
and,
have
and
the
Chargers. Yeah.
yeah. We both have the
Doug
Chargers.
Peterson. Doug Peterson, coach of the
Buffalo Bills?
Jaguars.
No, Jaguars. That's right.
Yeah. Previously head coach for the Eagles from 2016 to 2020. Then was
Super Bowl
the
winning
Chiefs,
team. Yeah.
Chiefs offensive coordinator 2013 to 2015. Looks
Mhm.
like he was out of the league for a year after
Okay.
the Eagles shit canned him. And as we know, if you get fired with time still on your contract, that team is still paying you.
Get that money.
Get that money. Is now taking the Jaguars back to the playoffs since is that the early 2000s? Was that the game
It's been a while.
that they played against the Titans?
When
The
Byron
Music
Leftwich
City-
was their quarterback?
Yeah, the Music City Miracle game.
It might be. Miami and Buffalo on Sunday.
Buffalo.
New York, me too. New York, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah, me too. Baltimore, Cincy.
Cincy.
Same. And Dallas, Tampa.
Tampa.
Oh, I got Dallas.
Dallas.
I am not impressed by what the Cowboys tried to do by actually trying to win against the Redskins.
Yeah, that was weird.
And sneakily enough, the Bucks are kind of clicking right now in the last couple of games. And their defense is better than you think.
That sounds
Old,
like a Tom Brady move.
Old
Tom Brady
Tommy
move.
two-step is like playoffs, you say?
Mm.
Oh, it's January? Okay. I don't Aaron, did you want to make NFL picks? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm shouting cities.
Okay.
I recognized Cowboys from the film The Little Giants.
Yeah.
So I shouted that.
Is Handsome Jimmy gonna play?
Jimmy
Do
G?
you know? Yeah.
No, Jimmy G is not playing.
So Brock Purdy, we just picked Brock Purdy to win a playoff game.
Some could argue that he played the best of all three 49er quarterbacks all year.
Well, Handsome Jimmy is an atrocity at quarterback. It's honestly Kyle Shanahan should win Coach of the Decade for how good that team has been with their quarterback situation.
He's also known as Jimmy Checkdown.
Jimmy Checkdown.
Yeah, Jimmy Checkdown. He doesn't push the ball down the field. He checks it down.
Jimmy, give me the girl who filmed 8 pornos yesterday.
Damn.
That's because he likes porn stars, is that joke. I like Cincy over Baltimore too. I think Cincinnati's peaking at the right time.
Yeah, they look good. They're
Mhm.
proven in the playoffs, whereas Baltimore, I think, recently broke through with Lamar winning their first playoff game, but he hasn't played in weeks, and you expect him just to come back and be in sync with everybody. I highly doubt that.
And Harbaugh is saying it's not for sure that he's going to play. He represents himself. He doesn't have an agent.
Yes, I did know that, and
Yeah.
I found it to be idiotic.
Bobby Wagner, same thing.
Well, Bobby Wagner had played himself into probably a really good position from what he did this year, whereas Lamar went into a contract year and missed a whole bunch of time. And I believe they threw the checkbook at him and he said no.
Yeah, I think that is true. Bobby Wagner, I believe, signed a 5-year contract with the Rams. Of course, we know those deals are not worth the money they're printed on, but even still, I'm pretty sure it was 5 years. Yeah, 5 years.
In the offseason, right? Because he came over from
Mhm.
Seattle in the previous offseason, right?
Yeah, he did. I don't think he is going to be a free agent.
No. Stephanie McMahon, Vince McMahon's daughter,
Yeah.
resigns as WWE co-CEO.
How come? Does it say?
Let's
Was
find
there some
out.
sort of scandal?
Now, isn't she married to Triple H?
Yes.
Speaking
Okay,
of
so she announced her
resignation,
resignation less than a week after her father came out of retirement and returned as chairman of the board.
oh, family drama.
Vince McMahon, another guy, all natural.
All natty. Speaking of resignations, do you think Khabib is actually exiting all MMA as he says he is? Like done coaching, done everything.
I
And
think
if
so.
he,
He's
you
proven
think,
to be a man of his word.
yeah, I don't disagree with that. How do you think his team fares without him there?
I think they got a pretty solid structure in place. Maybe they lose a little bit of discipline, a little, right? Not a fuck ton because they're Dagestani, for Christ's sakes.
We're not saying Islam loses a step or two, are we?
No. I think they have a pretty good system in place in how they prepare. They may actually lean more on their strengths as opposed to expanding on what his current talents are, right? They may just be super wrestling heavy because that's what they are.
Yeah.
That's second nature for them. But we can't say it's not going to have an effect, especially if he's like, hey, I'm taking time away because I want to be with my family, and he just stays away.
Yeah.
Now, they didn't say that it was permanent. He just said he wanted to take some time away. It was kind of indefinite, open-ended in terms of how long that was going to be.
Yeah.
So
Raise his kids up until they're competition ready, probably, and then get back into coaching.
Does Khabib have kids?
3.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
He has 3 kids. I know that he was spending so much time away, like just going with his fighters for camp, for their fights. And you could totally tell that family is like at the top of his priority list. A part of me feels too that maybe just the whole game, like with Eagle FC and Dana and the game, like if there's one thing I know about combat sports, is surrounded by gambling and alcohol and every vice that comes with it, none of which is conducive to the Islamic lifestyle.
That's a fair point.
And like maybe just if the lifestyle is not what he wants and he can't handle the people living in it, I could see that.
I think he can handle them. I don't know if he wants to anymore.
Yeah, that's probably it. He probably doesn't fucking have to.
No.
And I kind of feel like his team, like you said, might lose a little discipline. I don't think Islam is really a part of that conversation. I think he's just been in long enough that he's pretty much a Nurmagomedov, which is also who I think will be fine. I think like Umar Nurmagomedov will probably be fine. Usman, his other cousin, I think they'll be fine. But I think maybe we won't see as many people coming out of that camp over the next few years, though, just because they won't have Khabib's blessing. Khabib, I heard that guy was good, but I've never seen him. It just won't have as much pull to get people in. But damn, man, talk about just retire at the top of your game as a coach and then as a fighter and then as a coach. Shit. Props to him. Fuck.
I'm going to say something controversial.
What?
I am ready for a post Khabib UFC.
I don't think that's that controversial.
It's kind of like the difference is there is still a chance we see Conor fight. There is still a chance we see John Jones fight. If it was something where we knew those two guys were done fighting and we were still kind of every single week talking about them, it's kind of like, all right, I get it, but
sure.
let's move on. That's what I would say.
Yeah. If Khabib's out of the picture, it'll just kind of be this guy came from his camp. And that'll be the end of that. Hey, happy retirement, bro. I think you deserve it. I hope he enjoys his time. Sadder news, Christina Lee. If you're not
over at 1FC, right?
Over at 1FC, 18 years old, passed away. sister of Andrea Lee, the atomweight champion in one. Her brother also fights, right? Or her other sister?
Yeah.
Also in one. Geez, I mean, 3 professional fights. She started professionally fighting at 16 and she's dead. They also closed the gym. The gym she trained out of, the entire gym closed. They canceled all the memberships. No idea if that's related, but that is a true thing. Man, hearts out to the fam and all of Hawaiian MMA. And One FC on Prime is this Friday, if you didn't know. We have some UFC on Saturday and some One on Friday, which is cool.
Oh, that's right. Superbon versus Alizov.
Mm-hmm.
The last One FC on Prime was a ton of fun. That guy, whose name I can't remember, is a fucking killer.
Yeah, the heavyweight, right? Did you say? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On the other news, really, I suppose Charles Oliveira's time frame got pushed back a little bit.
Aljamain Sterling too.
Aljamain Sterling got back, which Sean O'Malley called him Aljamain Sterling, and that is a fantastic nickname. And he also offered to step in to face Henry Cejudo.
It seems like that would be for an interim belt, yeah.
And that would be for an interim belt. What are your initial thoughts?
Aaron's favorite, the interim belt.
Yeah, right. We'll see who defends it the most.
Yeah.
Who do you?
I felt bad on a re-listen. I feel like I went too hard on you on that.
No, it's all good. And I mean, I was one of those things too, where I'm like, shit, how does somebody win the interim belt and then win their next 2 fight, but not be defending?
Well, that is a weird. That was Tony Ferguson,
injuries
right?
and strippings, and it just fucking
Ferguson
happens.
Definitely the most unique career in MMA or UFC history, I think.
Yeah, it's up there. That's for sure. Speaking of Tony Ferguson, the person whom he won the interim off of, Kevin Lee, talked about how he wouldn't come back to the UFC because it would take away all of his leverage. He's trying to work in a fight with the Paul brothers. And now his brother, Kevin Lee's brother, Keith, is like a big TikTok sensation.
Oh.
And apparently it's adding some legs to the social clout. And could see some sort of Kevin Lee maybe moving into PFL to fight Logan Paul.
ESPN
Jake
had
Paul, sorry.
Yeah, ESPN had an interesting article about could anyone follow Jake Paul into the PFL? Because it sounds kind of like who wrote this? Was it Brett Okamoto? I want to give credit where credit's due. Doesn't actually say.
What does he mean by follow him?
So this go to that promotion.
Okay. Whoever wrote this article. Oh, this is one of those so Jeff Wagenheim, again, credit where credit's due. Megan Anderson, Brett Okamoto, and Jeff Wagenheim did some predictions. It looks, I think, yesterday on ESPN. And Wagenheim is predicting Jake Paul and Nate Diaz fight one time, not twice, right? Jake said, well, first we'll box, then we'll do an MMA fight. And that they would do some sort of split format, 1 round MMA, 1 round boxing type of thing. So okay. I don't know if Jake Paul and Nate Diaz box right now. Jake Paul's a 3-1 favorite, which is fucking crazy. But it's really hard to think that in an MMA rules fight, Jake would have anything to do with Nate's jiu-jitsu. So
yeah, I'm
comfortable saying I think Jake Paul would beat Nate Diaz in a boxing fight.
I like the prospect of the 2 fights, though. I think that's a good way to go.
And I think PFL will play ball, right? And PFL kind of secretly is. I don't know who owns them or whatever, but they're kind of secretly the UFC's little brother, right? They're on ESPN also. They're just starting to do some pay-per-views. I guess they're going to give title fight or main event fights a 50% split of the pay-per-view revenue, which is not even close to what the UFC gives them. So
I was going to say the PFL is probably still looking for eyes
Yeah.
And we had a conversation not a couple of episodes ago about how some fighters are getting the eyes from the UFC. It's
Yeah.
the other way around for the PFL.
Yep.
I think a lot of fighters are bringing the eyes to them, and they are totally aware of that, and they are paying fighters accordingly.
And getting
For
Jake
now.
Paul is not nothing, right?
No. Mm-mm.
He brings a lot of attention, whatever he brings. So could someone like, I mean, we've thrown out a ton of names, but what if someone like Brian Ortega was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna own their featherweight division for 3 years, make a shit ton of money, and leave? It's not crazy.
Good. Yeah.
He
Not
would
to-
for sure win their featherweight title, right? I'm not off on that.
And it gives PFL a litmus for pay-per-view. Like if they wanted to step into the
Right.
pay-per-view game, like
Which they've already
Bellator
started doing.
has, then throw somebody in there who knows how to sell pay-per-views, and
Mhm.
Jake Paul has learned a lot. So I think that would bring a lot of eyes to PFL, and it would probably earn them their highest selling pay-per-view if they put him on it.
Seems likely.
Yeah. What else was happening? Was there anything else in the MMA world before I can't believe I'm going to say this, make picks for the first time in a month? Eh?
No, but this article on ESPN is interesting on like bold predictions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What
Any
else?
of them that jump out to you?
They're saying John Jones doesn't fight ever again.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
It's a bold prediction, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to get like what? So, but still, it's bold.
Huh.
This one, they're saying Henry Cejudo is going to win Fighter of the Year, which would mean he'd have to fight multiple times.
Yep.
Okay, Henry Cejudo being Fighter of the Year. I don't know. What would he have to? He would have to annihilate Sean if he fought Sean, and then he would have to annihilate Aljamain when he comes back, and then probably somebody else.
Then go up and beat Volkanovski.
Oh my gosh,
that would make him Fighter of the Year right there.
Yeah, I suppose.
Is that all he'd have to do?
That's all you got to do is win the interim, beat the champ at bantamweight, go
beat
up
literally
class.
3 of the best pound for pound fighters on earth.
That's all you got to do
in 1 year. Yeah,
that would be 3 belt wins. That'd be amazing.
They also this has Leon Edwards beating Kamaru Usman again in London.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
that's
I don't know about that either.
That's wild. The California Legislative Women's Caucus calls for the removal of Dana White as UFC president.
Yeah, have you guys had any like changing thoughts on the Dana White thing?
I'm interested. Interested's the wrong word. I'm surprised that they're just kind of like, what they ended up doing was staying silent for a week, and then they're like, okay, we're back to normal.
Yep.
Yeah.
and we thought, they're the Slap League, which I didn't realize was on TBS. Did you guys know that?
I did after I know that it was after I learned that it was postponed.
Yeah, and then that's where I found that out too. Like, oh shit, they're gonna table that, right? They're like, oh no, we're just delaying it a week. And that's like everybody's in on it. So guys, we're gonna lay low for a week.
Yeah.
And then it's full steam ahead.
Yeah.
Shit.
I'm gonna give you 3 words as to why this has been buried. You ready?
Ready.
1.5. And do you know what that those 3 words represent?
The billions of dollars.
The billions of dollars the ESPN and the UFC stand to lose if there was some sort of dissolution of their agreement, because that is the rights agreement that ESPN paid to host their, at least that is what it's believed to be anyway.
Yeah, they're just gonna let that go. They're just gonna let it fade away.
I mean, it's like other people, we kind of talked about it last week. Other people have made this point, like that weird situation with the U.S. men's national team coach was headline news on ESPN for like 2 days. But that allegedly happened 30 years ago. Dana White's thing is on video, and you can't find ESPN mentioning it anywhere except for some random group of women. I guess it's the legislative caucus, but
sure,
whatever. When they didn't even send it to, they sent it to Ari Emanuel, who's a manager. They didn't send it to the UFC. Like, this is posturing. This is a show of good faith. Dana White is certainly not going to be removed as president of the UFC against his will.
No,
you know, and they only postponed it a week. It's the first Power Slap League episode is I feel stupid saying that it's debuting on January 18th.
It's coming.
I'm gonna watch. I want to see what it's like when a couple people just slap each other as hard as they fucking can. But
we're in agreement with this, right? They're probably all on steroids.
Probably.
Right. We don't think there's any type of USADA going on in the.
I'm pretty sure that I saw.
Look at my head twisting around.
What?
Yes, of course they are.
All on the juice. What about Phil Baroni allegedly beating?
That's a bummer. That is a bummer.
What was that one?
So he was arrested in Mexico.
Yeah.
They found a woman who they later identified as his girlfriend, who was assaulted. There were at least 37 injuries that resulted in her death.
Jeez. Yeah. Not going to be involved in sports anymore.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, that was around the same time as the Dana White situation.
Mm-hmm.
And that one definitely went under the radar for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's maybe due to the fact that he's not that big of a name.
No, yeah, he hasn't fought in a long time. He's 46.
Yeah. If you are interested, you guys, you can buy a shirt. On the back of it says "Slap Back to Reality," and there's a Power Slap League logo on the front.
Oh my God.
And their website says Power Slap, the world's premier slap fighting organization, slap fighting league. What does it say? I can't see the rest of it. The world's premier slap fighting organization.
It's premier.
There has to be a false ad out there somewhere that somebody made of the Power Slap League and the video still frame of Dana and his wife.
Has to be.
There has to be one. Why don't we talk about women slapping each other in the face? I think that would be a good idea. That's how we're going to start.
Well, there's
off.
women in the Power Slap League.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about them kicking each other in the face then too.
And now it's time for the Pretty Neat Podcast picks.
Well, 2023 is picking up right where 2022 left off with shaking up the card.
Mm-hmm.
We were originally talking about Kelvin Gastelum taking on Nasruddin Imavov, but Sean Strickland is stepping in because Kelvin Gastelum has an injured mouth. And they're going to be fighting at light heavyweight instead of middleweight. So that should be fun. That's the main event. But why don't we start at the very, very, very beginning of this card? Unless there's anything just jumping out you're excited about with it.
No, let's start from the bottom, work our way to the top.
Nice. Just like Murphy Brown. Is that Murphy Brown do that?
Drake does that.
Drake did
Murphy Brown.
I don't know.
What was that actress's name? Candice Bergen.
Was it?
Was it?
Murphy Brown.
Yeah. Kicking off the night and I keep on, geez, not even women's strawweight, women's flyweight. Priscilla, how do you say her last name? Cachoeira, or as I like to call her, Miss Nico Price.
That's not nice.
Is going to be fighting Sajara Eubank.
Is she married to Nico Price?
No, she just looks like Nico Price.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's not nice. True. I'm not arguing it, but it's
nice. True. She does look like Nico Price if he went through one of those female filters that people do.
Mm-hmm.
And she's fighting Sajara Eubanks. Yes. And Sajara Eubanks, of course, the uncrowned tough champion that never was filled in for by Roxanne Modafferi on that season on the tough finale.
That's a weird turn of events.
Yeah,
weird turn of events. Ryan, do you have any initial thoughts on this one?
I'm all over Sarge on this one.
Yeah, I am
even though
too.
She's coming off a loss, I think she's more physically imposing.
Yep, especially if she misses weight. If she misses weight, I'm definitely pulling for Sarge.
So are you calling a missed weight here?
She's had trouble getting to flyweight. She's normally a bantamweight fighter. I'm kind of surprised that this is flyweight. She's really, really fucking strong, man. And she puts down a lot of pressure. And if she doesn't make weight, she'll definitely have a good gas tank for that. But Priscilla's like Nico Price. They even fight alike, man. She's very aggressive. She'll come forward, and she'll bring the game. I think she's gonna get knocked out.
Is it 125?
Yeah.
Eubanks they have listed at 135 right there.
Yeah, it's kind of, and Priscilla also is listed here as 135.
Or that's what I meant. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're both in Sajara. Geez, 125, 127.5.
Yeah, weird.
It is kind of weird. But yeah, I like Sarge here. I think she's just gonna be too much.
I think I agree.
Let's see. Then we are going to be moving into men's flyweight, where we have Jimmy Flick and Charles Johnson.
Well, we're gonna have fun with Jimmy Flick's name.
Of course we are.
He was on the Thompson? Jeff Neal. Sorry. Oh no, we haven't seen him in a long time. More than 2 years. Wow.
Coming off a pretty big. He retired, actually, if I recall correctly. He retired, and he's coming back. He wanted.
Sajara Eubanks was also on that card. Interesting.
Yeah. What do you? I think. I like Charles Johnson here myself. I like his height. I like his reach. He also. I mean, look at the sub. Like of Jimmy Flick. Jimmy Flick only wins fights by sub. And
he's only had the one fight in the UFC. And that was in 2020. He won by first round submission.
And outside of the UFC, I think all of his other wins are by submission.
Contender series, he won by submission.
4, yeah.
Then he was in LFA. He won the belt by submission.
Oh shit.
And then FCF, whatever that is. Freestyle cage fighting. He won by submission in round 1. Fought 4 times in 2020, and then he hasn't fought since. Give me Charles Johnson.
Yeah, I'll take Charles Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty decent favorite too, -380.
Unless this goes to the ground in the first round. Well, they're dry, I guess.
Hey, that's totally valid.
Then it's all Flick. Daniel Argueta and Nick Aguirre.
Aguirre?
Ooh. Let's see. How do you
Nick Aguirre is undefeated.
Nick
7-0.
Aguirre? Aguirre? You pronounce that Aguirre?
Aguirre?
Yeah.
Or are you trying to say it's Aguirre?
I guess I don't know.
He's got 5 wins in a row. Well, I have him listed as undefeated here on ESPN. UFC has him at 8-1, which is interesting. Coliseum Combat. Ever heard of that? Submission, rear naked choke. APFC, guillotine, first round knockout, triangle choke, first round, Art of Scrap 4. And then again in 2021, Coliseum Combat 55.
Nice.
All wins by finishes. Impressive.
Give me Slick Nick here.
All right.
Yeah. The Slick Nick pick.
I
Yep.
like it too. I like Slick Nick as well. Up again, or down, I guess, if you're looking in weight class. Up if you're looking at the card. To flyweight, Alan Macimento, Carlos Hernandez. Have both. I recognize Carlos Hernandez,
Me too.
but Alan Nascimento I don't, and he's a massive favorite.
Nascimento is?
Yeah,
Minus 370. Yeah.
Damn.
massive favorite. And
So he's got the reach. Got the height. No, the same height. Puro oso.
wow, 13 by submission, 11 first round finishes. Okay.
Yeah.
He was on that Blachowicz Rakic card and the Blachowicz Teixeira card
Oh.
and
Oh.
Contender Series when he lost to Howley Paiva. Interesting.
Okay. So that's
Yeah.
where he was coming from.
Carlos only has one fight in the UFC and then one fight on Dana White's Contender Series. Oddly
Okay.
enough, you don't see them give contracts to guys that go to decision on Contender Series,
Not
Mhm.
typically.
and he won a split decision.
Oh, really? And they still gave him the
They
contract.
gave him the contract, and then his first fight in February of last year, also a split decision win. And then prior to that, there was a unanimous decision LFA, and then 2 submission wins.
So that sort of, to me, feels like he's a bit of a brawler then, who at least can make the fight exciting.
There's got to be a reason you get a contract if you win by split decision, right? That's got to be an
Yeah.
action fight.
Absolutely. So I would at least expect this one to be fireworks. Maybe Allen just has more tools. I mean, I could see he's nearly got 3 times the number of fights under his belt.
Yeah.
And this, he's some water to the Hernandez fire, if you will. Hey, either way, that sounds like a very, very fun fight.
Give me Nascimento, but this could be one we end up talking about next week.
Yeah,
I think-
I'm going to go Hernandez.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're taking the big underdog.
I am.
That's fine.
Nice. I'm in agreement with Dom. I just think there's a couple more tools under the belt there. Then we go into bantamweight. Javid Basharat versus Mateus Mendonca. Is that how you say
Mendonca,
that?
another
Wow.
Contender Series guy.
Mhm.
Are you looking at his significant strikes landed per minute? 11.25.
That's
Ooh.
insane. Absolutely insane. How do your
Alright.
arms move that fast?
11.25
Both of these guys are
are throwing.
Contender Series guys.
But look at that. Mendonca, 11.25 with a 75% significant strike accuracy.
That's insane. That's
And he's got a
insane.
60% defense.
He gets hit though.
He does
Absorbs
get
5 a
hit.
minute.
I mean, you can't throw at that rate and not get hit.
yeah.
So
'cause
let's
you
see.
ain't
His Contender
blocking.
Series was a first round KO, and then Future Fighting Championships UD, then a KO, then a submission, then a UD. So for somebody who throws that much, I would have thought he'd have mostly KOs.
This was the Bo Nickel card that
Mhm.
Aaron and I did live.
Yeah.
And he knocked him out in 48 seconds. I remember this very well.
I actually recall my wife saying he has blue hair. He's going to win.
Yep. He is a monster.
Yeah. Look at the average fight times too. With like Javid has 14:44 and 14 minutes, 44 seconds, and Mateus with 48 seconds.
Well, he's only got the one fight.
Yeah. It's like when
So-
Kamzat's was
Yeah,
like
like
way down
11
there.
seconds or whatever.
And
this
that's
this is set up for a knockout, right? This is Mateus
By one of them, definitely.
like getting it done really early, or Javid finding it. That's what
So-
this feels like.
Javid beat Tony Grabbley, who's a good fighter, and I can't think of this guy's first name, but last name Jones. Those are his 2 fights in the UFC, and then he won by sub in the Contender Series. But they were all, that one was a late stoppage too, which is why his average fight time is 14:44.
Oh, okay.
This is gonna be I'm excited for this one now. This is gonna be a fun one.
Give me Mateus on this one.
Me too.
Yeah, I like Mateus also. He also has a sweet chess piece.
We talked about that owl at the time. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Piercing gaze.
Mateus is followed by another Mateus, but that would be Mateus Rebecki at lightweight fighting Nick Fiore. Am I saying that, or am I just blasting names today?
Some tough ones, honestly. No stats on Mr. Fiore here. Let's see. Yeah, Combat Zone.
This got to be a debut.
He's been very active though. 5 fights since August of 21.
How old is this guy? Because he's only got 6 pro fights.
25.
Combat Zone, huh? Combat Zone 74, 75, 77, 78. What happened with 76? So TKO round 1, submission round 1, submission round 1, submission round 1, TKO round 1. Hell yeah.
Huh.
Now, Rebecki is a heavy favorite, -700. He fought in August on the Contender Series, and then he has been in Fenn 28, 32, 36, and 37, which maybe is a Russian promotion.
Maybe, or Polish. He's from
Polish. Sorry. Yeah.
Fight Night Wroclaw. Yeah, that's got to be Poland. That's definitely Poland. Lotos Fight Night 4, Lotos Fight Night, TKO, KO, KO, UD sub.
His only Contender Series win was a rear naked choke in the first round.
I'm going.
He is a heavy favorite. I'm gonna go. If I was betting, I would parlay him with Mendonca. So I'll take Fiore.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking Fiore. I got the Pole. I'm going Polish.
Also.
Polish sausage.
I'm going both Mateuses. I just like the name Mateus.
Mateus.
Yeah. And this next kid, Claudio Ribeiro, also a Contender Series guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's taking on Abdul Razak Al Hassan, who's a beast from Ghana.
5'10", fighting at 185. That's a thick boy.
Not a Contender Series guy, but he is 1-4 in his last 5 UFC appearances dating back to July of 2020.
Oh yeah, look at that. Chaos William knocked him out in the first round. Jacob Malkoun beat him in a UD. He beat the Italian guy, Anthony Di Chirico. That's a first round KO. And then he lost a split decision. That screams to me he gasses.
Yep.
That does scream gas.
Gas.
Yeah, give me Ribeiro here. That's a nice 3-fighter parlay. I like that.
Yeah, I like Ribeiro myself on that one, and I think he gets it done later or decision.
Yeah, plus he had a first round KO on the Contender Series. I like that.
Oh, geez, yeah.
He got a TKO by retirement. How about that?
Love that. I like an undercard full of Contender Series guys. That's fun.
Yeah. I'm on the Claudio train.
Mm-hmm.
KO, KO, TKO, TKO, KO. Yeah, that's fireworks right there.
Yep, I like it. Speaking of the fighter we talked about not fighting or not talking about anymore because he might just fade out. Nurmagomedov. The name is back, but it's Khabib's little cousin Umar fighting. Is it Honey or is it Roni?
I'd say Honey.
Barcelos. I mean, he's no joke. He's a massive underdog, but Barcelos and a Nurmagomedov just doesn't mix. This -750 for Umar is probably the right line.
Yeah, ESPN has it at -700.
Yeah, this should be with under 5 minutes. this should be club and pure domination. I don't know if it'll be club and sub. I just club and dom, whatever you want to call it. It's
Club and Dom?
club and domination.
Club and BDSM?
Yes, he's club missive, one might say.
Hey.
Or at least Honey will be. I got Umar all the way in this. Not a chance it goes to the end.
Yeah,
Not a
yeah. I was
chance.
looking at his fights. Umar subbed out Brian Boom Kelleher.
Yeah,
That's a good win.
yeah. And Boom Boom is no joke.
Boom Boom.
And he did it fast too.
Now, Mr. Barcelos did
Mhm.
beat a Nurmagomedov in
Mhm.
2019, but I think that was Saeed.
Probably.
Who is not related? Is that correct?
He's not related to Habib. No, they just have the same last name.
Oh yeah, he beat Trevin Jones.
Trevin Jones.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. I remember when Henry beat him. I remember when Valiev beat him. I don't remember when he faced Khani Taha.
We were there for Barcelos against Victor Henry.
Oh no, yes we were. January 22nd. Would you look at that? Oh, yep, and there's Saeed Nurmagomedov. Yep, I remember that. Lost by decision. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I
Hey.
still got Umar on this one.
I still got Umar. Yeah.
Revenge of the
Revenge.
Nurmagomedovs. Nurmagomedovs.
Yeah, right. You eventually have to get into the syllable just to like get it. Like
Nurmagomedov.
yeah. The next one, Ketlen Vieira.
Yeah, I got Ketlin on this one. I
Yeah,
don't
me too.
think Rocky's got much left.
I don't really either, man. I can't believe she's ranked 5th.
Well, it kind of just speaks to the bantamweight division, right?
It
Rocky
really
didn't even
does.
fight at 135 all the time. She used to fight down at 125.
Was she
That's
on the
so-
list at any given point?
No.
Not for me.
That's correct. She was not.
Yeah. She got head kicked by Valentina. That was
Yes.
so bad.
And Ketlin's last win, she beat Holly Holm. So that's a good win, even with Holly being 40.
Worse
she
than
al-
Jessica I? She got kicked?
Oh yeah, Jessica I's the one that got kicked in the head, not Raquel.
Yeah,
Pennington.
Jessica I
My
took the
bad.
baseball bat to the dome.
Yeah,
She also beat Misha Tate. She lost to Yara Kunitskaya.
Mhm.
Then she beat Eubanks, and then she lost to Irene Aldana
Mhm.
in 2019. So not terrible. She's won 3 of her last 5. I still like Ketlin, just physically dominating.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. That's such a great couple of wins for Catlin too. This really should put her in the discussion for feeding to the lioness. Why not? I'm for it. I'd much rather see her go that way than Raquel Pennington.
She's never fought her before?
Ketlin?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Interesting.
So that could add some spice. You know, if Ketlin goes out there and totally dominates Raquel, which could happen, it's like, hey, there's a reason I'm fucking number 2 here. So give me the lioness next. So I'm for that. I'd love to see Ketlin go out there and put on a performance. But hey, Raquel's a name. If she won, it's not like that would be bad for pulling some eyes to Amanda or whoever might be the next contender.
Also, last week we were talking about a female fighter that had gone on Joe Rogan's podcast and was talking about the way that like the medical coverage works through
Liz
the UFC.
Carmouche?
It was
Liz-
Kat Zingano.
Kat Zingano,
okay.
not Liz Carmouche.
Yeah.
You're fucking right.
They're really close, though. Both icons of the sport from the early days of women's. That's for sure.
Have fun with that name.
I know, right? Punahele Soriano is what I'm going to go with.
I'm going to guess he's
that's
from
correct.
Hawaii
He
or
is-
Yeah.
Kansas.
He's from
Punahele?
Hawaii. Punahele, yeah, he's from Hawaii. He's he trains out of Vegas, which is
Okay.
from what I understand, it's the
Extreme
8-time.
Couture, yeah.
Okay. And Roman Kopylov. Glad to see him back as well. Fun middleweight fight. This one again should be some leather being slung. if you will.
Yeah, I like Punahele on this one.
Oh yeah, why?
Um, I distinctly remember watching him fight on different occasions, and he's had better decision making. I think Extreme Couture has given him more than just like a brawling. What he was doing before was just like a brawling marauder type style.
Yeah.
And Roman Kopylov has lost 2 of his last 3 fights in the UFC. Well, he's only had 3 fights in the UFC. He's lost 2 of the last 3.
Don't love that.
Sub lost to Carl Robertson, then a unanimous decision to Duraev, and then he knocked out Anthony D. Chirico in round 3. I like Punahele. The Brandon Allen loss.
Yeah, I was about to say
is that's not a good sign for Punahele, right? Because Brandon Allen has gotten
a lot
torched
better.
a little bit.
Oh yeah, yes. I'm thinking of somebody else.
Yeah, not Arnold Allen, Brandon Allen, the one who fights at.
They're brothers.
Are they? Definitely not brothers.
Well, I think
I don't
Brandon.
think so.
I think Brandon Allen has had a win since the July 24th, 2021. A pretty good one.
You know what we're thinking about with Brendan Allen? It's Brendan Allen, not Brandon.
Yeah.
When he got knocked out by Chris Curtis, remember that's when Chris Curtis like jumped in on the scene. That
okay.
Because Brendan Allen has won 4 of his last 5.
Yeah.
He beat Punahele, then he got knocked out by Chris Curtis, then he demolished Sam Alvey. Then Jacob Malkoun was a UD, and then he beat Krzysztof Jotko by sub in round 1.
That's what I was thinking was Jotko.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Jotko's-
And I remember him from the Sam Alvey fight as well.
Yep. Okay.
Friend
Yeah.
of the show.
Friend of the show.
Yeah.
Very, very disappointing result.
Yeah. I think you're on it with Punahele. I actually think this might be his to lose. And what I mean by that is I think Roman could capitalize on some mistakes.
He's only a slight favorite, minus 160.
It's very slight, very slight. I think that I'm still sticking to Punahele. He should have this everywhere on paper. Even
I like Puna.
Yeah, I'm in for Puna on this one. And we have our final 2 fights of the night. First being featherweight, Dan 50K Ige is back, fighting Damon Jackson or Damon Jackson, however he chooses to pronounce it.
Damon.
Somewhat of a coin flipped on this one, but Dan needs a win here.
Yeah, he's lost 4
Dan
of his last
Ige
5.
and Ally Quinta are the same person. There, I said it.
You're not far off, frankly. I mean, Dan Ige has had to fight some of the toughest fucking fighters over the last 5 fights.
Yeah, he lost to Evloev, who's an up and comer in that division, right?
Yeah,
He's like a Russian hammer. Then he lost to Josh Emmett. Then he lost to the Korean Zombie. Then he beat whoever Tucker is by first round TKO. Cool, good win. And then before that, he lost to Calvin Cater. The thing here that he took all those guys in a loss to the judges.
Yeah,
He didn't get finished.
So that, I mean, that has to be his path, right? Is that Damon never figures it out?
Well, I seem to recall that Damon has really good endurance.
Can we get a little of Damon Jackson's picture for a second?
Of course.
Get the fuck out of here, dude. Hey, get the fuck out of here.
Damon action.
What
man.
are you doing? Shave your head. It's over. The ship
think he
has
does
sailed.
Yeah.
Your forehead is outrageous. Take it from me. Just turn it into your whole head.
Sometimes your hairline retires before you, and you
That
have to
picture
just
is
go
so
with it.
rough right there.
It is.
That smaller version.
Yeah.
Dang.
So Damon Jackson has won 4 of his last 5. His last loss was against Ilya Topuria by, you guessed it, first round knockout.
No shame there.
That's what Topuria does. But then he beat
that dude is a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, Kirk by sub. He got a decision. David Argueta was a decision. Then he beat Pat Sabatini by first round TKO as well. Not necessarily big names. This is a big step up in competition outside of Topuria for Damon Jackson. So give me a 50K Ige.
You know what? I'm leaning heavy on Dan Ige, and I think he's going to get it done within the 3 minutes. 3 rounds. Sorry. I think he gets it done by finish.
Interesting.
Inside the distance. He ain't going to go to decision on this one. That moves us into the main event of Saturday evening, which was Kevin Gastelum and is now Sean Strickland versus Nasruddin Imavov at light heavyweight instead of middleweight. Imavov, a slight favorite here. And
so they moved this up in weight then.
Yeah,
they did.
This is a late replacement. I think Sean Strickland used to fight at 205.
I think
and
he has
probably
before.
needs more time to get down to 185. So this makes sense if they're getting him to come in and fight, which, guys, Sean Strickland fought in the last UFC event.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
How many times has the guy fought in 2 straight events?
Back to
2
back.
straight main events.
That's got to be a first, right?
Bisping has to have been the closest with what, 20 days?
When he fought GSP that second time? Yeah.
And then Gastelum afterwards and got knocked out.
I think it was Gastelum then GSP.
It was Gastelum done GSP.
And GSP I remember
Gastelum knocked out Gastelum after that, all that. That was what retired GSP or Bisping.
Yes, Bisping retired after the knockout to Gastelum, taking the fight less than a month off of losing the belt from GSP, who then relinquished the belt after he said he wouldn't. He said he wouldn't.
That's still crazy. Sean Strickland caps 2022 and ignites 2023 in the main events. Props to him. I think not having to cut the weight is going to benefit Sean Strickland in this fight immensely.
He's going to lose.
You think so?
Sean Strickland's going to lose.
20 days for Bisping.
Why do you think he's going to lose?
Why is he going to lose?
Yeah.
Because Nasruddin Imavov, even though he's repping the French flag, is from Dagestan. And in his last fight, because I think he fought on the French card, right? The French. It was the Sirogan Tuivasa.
Yeah,
he beat right. Joaquin Buckley, which Joaquin Buckley is a big 185er.
Yes.
Then he knocked out Edmund Shabazian. Then he knocked out Ian Heinisch. He lost a majority decision to Phil Haas, who's also a big middleweight.
Very big.
I like Nasruddin there.
You know what? Your Edmund Shabazian reminder there too, because Edmund Shabazian is fucking huge for 185. And Nasruddin looked about the same size. So I think that it'll be pretty evenly matched size wise. The thing I also liked, especially watching Nasruddin with Edmund, is he's kind of a sniper.
Dude, he's 6'3". Nasruddin's 6'3". He's going to be bigger than Sean Strickland, or at least taller.
I think this will be reminiscent of Pereira. Even though Nasruddin is more aggressive in the grappling, he still loves to corner and snipe. He picked his shots with Edmund. And if he does that with Strickland, he could definitely beat Strickland, finish him.
What is the line on this fight?
Little bit. It looks like
minus. Pick'em. That's a pick'em.
Yeah, it's a pick'em.
I mean, I like Nasruddin. I'm also concerned, for Sean Strickland, how was he able to fight? Wouldn't there have been some type of medical suspensions after doing
Florida,
a fight?
Or where did he fight his last fight?
That was at the Apex.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's at the Apex. Just you're fighting Jared Cannonier. He absorbed 157 strikes in that fight. Sean Strickland did. 152 of them were considered to be significant strikes, and 126 of those 152 were to the head. How does he not have a medical suspension?
You could talk me into a rule that basically says after you fight, you have a minimum of 8, but probably 12 weeks before you're about to fight again.
Yeah. Like, we're talking about it's not even a full month, and he's going to fight in another 5-round main event. I don't think it's good for Sean in terms of his ability to stay or to be competitive in the match.
I think Sean, those were the numbers Sean landed, not took.
Oh, you're right.
He took 141, all of which were considered to be significant.
Yes, because that's what Jerry Cannonier does.
We're at 60 to the body, 24 to the legs. That is.
Oh, that's right. Cannonier was throwing those heavy leg kicks.
This is a tough sell for me. I would be surprised if Strickland is at his best, for lack of a better way to say it. I don't know.
I wouldn't consider him to be at his best.
I had a strong feeling about Strickland in this one, especially being that he trains in Vegas and he won't have to move again. He really hasn't had to do anything. But just looking at the strike differential too, and like where I was saying that Imavov is a sniper, like he throws 2 less punches per minute than Sean does, but his significant strikes percentage is higher,
considerably higher.
The big thing is the absorbed per minute. I mean, Sean absorbs twice as many punches as Imavov does, and he's still throwing more. So, I mean, I think we're going to see some great counters from Imavov. Actually, I'm going to think we're going to see some great timing by Imavov, not necessarily counters. He doesn't really counter. He just picks his shots.
Sean absorbs more per minute than Imavov lands, which does not bode well for him. I think even if he hadn't just fought, these stats do not favor Sean Strickland.
No, not particularly. And I mean, their grappling is going to probably be pretty equal, if not in Imavov's favor for the size.
You think Imavov is bigger? I know he's taller, but is he bigger? Sean's a big guy. He's got a reach advantage.
They're both pretty big guys.
Yeah, that's true.
Imavov is 6'3" and Sean Strickland 6'1", but I mean, the reach can be what it is. Sean looks like he has pretty long arms.
He does.
And this certainly would have been a far more interesting matchup to discuss topically if it was at middleweight, just to see how they would do, especially having seen Sean fight Alex. You know, seeing anybody who's fought Alex, how they fare against other people, you know, try and see how they would size up with Alex on MMA math.
Imavov is also ranked 12th at middleweight and would considerably be it's not unlogical to say he could be on his way up, whereas Strickland definitely seems like he's on his way down. So taking this fight, even if losing doesn't affect his ranking at middleweight, is I respect what he's doing, whereas he was fighting actually a rank lower than him when it was Kelvin Gastelum.
I do think Strickland is saving this card, though, in a lot of ways. I don't think I don't think any of the other fights on this card could have moved up to main event, and they were going to have to pick a name for Imavov, and Strickland is probably the biggest name they could get now.
Oh, that's like definitely how that went.
I can't think of, I mean, unless freaking Bo Nickel was going to jump into middleweight and go jump
Bo
right
Nickel
into
is
it.
middleweight.
I know, but like if he was going to cut and make it in time,
nah, Bo's not doing that.
Like,
he's playing the long game.
It would at least put him in the top 15 and in a main event spot in his first UFC fight. So, I mean, it could have been an opportunity, but I think you're right that he's going to play it right.
I think he's going to get both of those things. I could see them throwing him Darren Till.
Oof, right away?
Could you imagine?
Oh my gosh.
He'd run through him.
He would.
It was run through him.
Fucking destroy Darren Till.
Yeah. I made a comment. So like there's some newer UFC cards came out, right? And a Patty Pimblett went up. Somebody went on one of the Facebook groups, which shout out if you're from any of the UFC trading cards Facebook groups and you wind up at the UFC or at the most pretty neat podcast about UFC on the planet, which is here. And they're talking about Patty Pimblett and this new card that came out, and it's like fire and like, yeah, pulled this monster, gonna sell it, blah blah blah.
Can we pull it up? Let me see it.
I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but I made a comment that cool card, but Patty Pimblett doesn't beat anybody in the top 10, let alone top 15. So flip it while he's relevant.
No, just search for the card. I don't need to see the post.
Oh, okay. And man, I got a lot of people who are like, "What are you smoking? You're crazy."
That Patty Pimblett would beat someone in the top 15?
That I was crazy for thinking he would.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's okay. Well, here you go, Patty. Here's Jalen Turner. Have fun with your day.
That's literally exactly what I said.
I mean, whatever.
I literally even put in there, like Jalen Turner would rip his arms off, like verbatim. That's what I put. I don't see the exact card, but it looks closest to this one.
What is fire about that? That Patty is not a good-looking guy.
Average price $1,000 per card.
$1,000 for that one?
For that one, yeah. That's a black though. There's only 30.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, just another card, probably worth $50 to $100. But yeah, I was just kind of surprised at how much instant flack there was for like, I don't think Patty Pimblett's an actual contender. You're smoking. I'm like, excuse me? Jared Gordon's ranked 24th, and he needed the judges. Like literally needed them to save him.
Yeah, that's a public thing though, is what that is. He's the public name.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gonna get that sort of push because of it.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny. Some of the cards are pretty sexy though. Some of the new cards are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put some up on the eBay, which you can click and go see if you go to the prettyneatpodcast.com. Just hit UFC cards on the bottom and you click it. And there's some good ones in there. The blue velocities were kind of neat. I've been trying to pick those up. So I am collecting the Matt Brown cards. Like Matt Brown is who I collect. And I only need like 6 more of his 2022 cards to like almost fill it. And I'm like really happy about it. Which I'll probably then immediately flip. Because once you have the whole collection, might as well just
the whole collection, meaning like everyone that was in circulation or just one of each one?
Yeah, in 2022, I'm collecting the Matt Brown Prisms, which there's, I believe, something like 21 versions of his one card.
So and you just want one of each, or every single one they printed of each?
I want one of each.
Okay.
Yeah, because then I have the rainbow, as it's called, and I would sell that for a nice chunk since they're all together. But Matt Brown is one of those guys where they didn't print a lot of extra cards of his too. So tracking down 20 cards is like a fun scavenger hunt. That's not impossible. And he's not so popular that if I find the person in this world who has his one of one black from this year, that they actually might sell it to me for not $1 billion,
Okay.
Because
man, the world of collecting is just, you can find people who collect damn near anything.
No joke.
Which I am a fan of as a concept, but
I love the community around it and how fun it can be. Some dude pulled a one of one one of one Islam Makhachev autograph from a $35 box he bought at Target
That's pretty
it's
cool.
now on eBay for $15,000.
That's
So he pulled the right box.
yeah. I have recently investigated, not participated in the world of people who collect like Yeti stuff, not like Bigfoot, but like coolers and the like tumblers and stuff.
That's a thing.
And like, oh yeah, it's and not only do people want what they want are the rare colors, and they want everything that was made in that color, which means they're spending thousands of dollars on coolers they're literally never going to use. They just want to have the whole thing in the color. I can appreciate it.
Of like but it's like cups. It's
Well, Yeti makes those.
They're really well insulated cups.
They are really well insulated. Yeti makes those big coolers though, like that you could fit a whole elk in or whatever.
And those are
And
also very well insulated.
They are those things. They are. I mean, they work. There's no question about that. But like some of my wife liked a pink one, and I'm like, babe, that's like retails for $30, and you can't find it for cheaper than 150 right now. You're not getting that.
yeah.
Not because she can't spend $150. She's allowed to spend $150, but I don't necessarily believe in paying 6 times retail.
It's not a good investment.
No.
Nope. Now, a Justin Herbert card. I've seen quite a few of those around because there's
Rookies?
there's not a lot of his fans in Texas. So, you guys, I'll have to keep an eye out for his rookies. What was his first season in the NFL?
This is his 3rd season, so 2019.
Chargers with all of them, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll keep an eye out for 2019 rookies.
He's from Oregon. We discovered and or confirmed a couple weeks ago.
That is not
Eugene.
the most flattering picture of Nate Diaz.
No, not really. I think that's what people look at.
The one of one.
Yep. So this was the Donrup Gold.
But look, it started. They wanted $2,800 for it, and
yeah, they priced that way too high.
yeah,
I mean, this Kamzat right here for $55,000. Fucking not gonna happen. I mean, if it was an autographed one, it's his rookie card. That makes more sense. So, but it's still not going to sell for $55,000. Like that would make it like the 3rd or 4th highest grossing UFC card sold of all time. But this Black Velocity Patty Pimblett, $3,000 is not a bad ask because there's only 30 of them. Well, 40.
Seems highly unreasonable to me.
It's very unreasonable, especially when it's not autographed. Like, to me, I like the autograph ones with numbers. But
I mean, who
yeah.
who would pay $3,000 for that?
I don't know. I'm a much bigger fan of the UFC Immaculate boxes and cards where you get this type of card, which is like way cleaner. They signed on the card. It's got a piece of their shirt or the octagon in the back. It's always a clean picture. It's always centered. The corners are always crisp, and they're usually numbered. But these boxes, you only get 5 cards in a box, and the box is $600.
Damn.
So
but
you're
they're
like
all like that. So you're just hoping for,
you're just hoping for the really great ones, the gold Khabibs,
and it would have to grade.
You'd have to
too.
grade it well, and grading it's $30 a card,
and that's not always a guarantee. Like I know in the Pokemon card world, there's a lot of runs that had like factory issues and stuff that there's just nothing you can do about it.
For sure. Yeah. I've pulled one of one card ever, a Chuck Liddell, and it had a massive factory bend in it. So
that's a bummer because that'd be a good one-on-one to have.
Yeah, right. That's just like a cool one to have. But no,
Do you still have it or did you sell it?
I sent it back to Panini. Yeah.
Oh, really?
To exchange. Which they exchange for a card of equal value. So it may not even be the same card.
What did you end up with?
I haven't gotten it back. It takes months.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
but
got to sort through every single one of those. That makes sense.
yeah, my local card shop has 2 of last year's immaculate boxes that are still unopened, and now he's marked them down to $500 a box. So maybe one day I'll go in there and pick those up. But
No, am I crazy, or wouldn't they just be better off financially opening them and selling the cards individually?
no, because the boxes will stay valuable. Like the new Immaculates for 2022 are coming out soon. And once those come out, the old boxes will actually go up in value. Because
do people like weigh them and get into that stuff like they do with Pokemon cards?
I know that people can, but not much in the local stores. They won't even let you hold them.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
they're like, pick a number. If there's 5 on the shelf, one's in the front, 5's in the back. Pick your number.
Okay.
And they hand it to you. Unless you're friends with the people at the shop, then sometimes they might let you hold the packs, and yeah, you can sort of tell which ones are thicker and whatnot.
Makes sense.
Immaculate, you can't, because like Immaculate, that's fucking a tin box. It comes in, it's like you need a knife to open it, and like security guards.
Interesting.
But now Immaculates are where it's at. Those are the fun ones. That and the first off the line, like the new cards that we were just looking at, the Donruss Optics. It's inaugural edition as well. It's the first time they've done that combo for UFC. So it's the first Donruss Optics. It's the first year ever. And the first off the line already came out, which has the big cards in it. But no, you can buy like boxes from first off the line from like 2011. Like you could buy an unopened box.
Yeah.
Actually, 2020 has kind of this funny thing that I've found. It was the last year that Topps made their cards. They did a series called Striking Signatures, where it was a box and there's one card in it and it's an autograph, and it's just a perfect autographed card. And you can get those like all over the place. Like they still sell them unopened because it's just a guaranteed autograph. Problem is, you're going to spend $100 and you're either going to get Izzy or you're going to get Lauren Murphy.
Right.
Like, so you got to be prepared to get the cards you don't want.
Or Jimmy Crute. Yeah.
But
interesting.
Yeah, I like it. I really like it. I'm going to definitely probably be at one of those shops in the next few days, just to visit. I'll keep an eye out for some Justin Herberts and try and talk them down, since everybody here's a Dallas Cowboys fan. Gentlemen,
Good luck.
This episode of the Pretty Neat Podcast was brought to you by the good times we shared.
A low energy episode.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it low energy. It was just kind of get back in the groove.
That's true. I'm back at work this week after like 3 off, and
yeah,
I say it every time, but not working is way better than working.
I could shake my head.
Not working 2026.
Hey, you know why I love MMA so much? It's pretty neat. That is 100% true, but it's also because it brings us together. You know what? Violence really does bring people